first topic.
I got that email. I just started laughing.
Our first topic is powered by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Look at Harold Fannin, who delivered in a big way for the Browns in his NFL debut, tying an NFL record for receptions for a tight end in their NFL debut. And just like Harold Fannin delivered for the Browns, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including 100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period runs through November 18th. All right, guys. The Baltimore Ravens are hosting its 30th anniversary celebration this week against the Cleveland Browns, and whether or not you're going to believe the Baltimore Ravens organization is up to you. Mary Kay reached out to the Ravens about the timing of this 30th anniversary.
Mike, let's clarify. This is factual. There's no believing or not believing. This is true.
Yeah, what we don't know is if
they knew ahead of time,
if they specifically planned so it would be around Cleveland. For that to have happened, they would have had to, I think, go to the NFL and request that Cleveland be the first home game.
I can't imagine.
And I can't imagine that they would do that. Although Sashi Brown is the team president.
Let me just read the statement the Ravens sent so everyone's on the same playing field so we all know. Mary Kay reached out to the Ravens. The Ravens said, planning for a 30th season began last year with the home opener as the official kickoff of our anniversary celebration. The plans to celebrate the 30th season were publicly released in March prior to the announcement of the league schedule and before we knew who our home opening opponent would be.
Yeah.
Jay, you mentioned this on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Bull has talked about this since then.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's a Bush League move?
I think if there's a bad guy in this scenario, it's the NFL. I don't think that, even though Sashi is the president of the Ravens, I don't think two things. One, that they would go to the NFL and say, hey, give us Browns home game first. I don't think they would do that. And secondly, I'm not sure the league would accommodate that. I don't know. Because to me, it's not like an all celebratory thing. There's going to be one side of the equation here that feels one certain way about it, while the other one feels a different way about it. So let's get that out of the way. I don't think it's beneath the NFL to do this. I just don't. And I know that someone would say, oh, here we go. It's everybody hates Cleveland. And it probably does sound like it's a bit conspiratorial. And it probably does sound, it probably makes me sound like I'm super defensive, but that's what we are in Cleveland. I'd like to think, because I give everybody the benefit of the doubt, I'd like to think this is just oh, wow, look what we've done. And it was, oh, my God. Well, I mean, it is what it is. Enjoy it, Cleveland. And that there was actual no intended malice here. So that's the way I look at this. As for how the Browns players look at it, look, they weren't born. Most of the Browns roster. Now, Joe Flacco remembers it. He was 10. And he also remembers it because he played in Baltimore, and now he's played in Cleveland, so he's seen both sides of that coin. But 80% of the Browns roster wasn't born yet. So I don't think it's going to rile them up in any crazy special way. I think that's nonsense. You might say that the comments that the Browns made about Derrick Henry being easy to tackle, that may do more for the Ravens than this celebration does for the Browns, because that's a direct hit. That's from one player to another with disrespect in their mouth. So at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to matter much on the field. As a fan, am I upset? Yeah, a little bit, because it opens an old wound. It opens the pain of what we had to go through in 1996 and 1997 and 1998 when we didn't have football to watch on Sunday. And then making it worse, we had to watch Art Modell and Ozzie Newsome and the Ravens go win trophies that we can't sniff. So that was tough too. But it's just an unfortunate circumstance. It's another chapter in the book of ugly Cleveland sports history.
If the Browns were a competent, functioning franchise that wasn't constantly throwing up in the punch bowl, this wouldn't be a big deal.
Wouldn't matter.
But the fact that they can't get their shoes on the right feet, let alone compete for a Super Bowl, is why this hurts so much. And I think I don't buy the excuse, oh, well, the NFL did this. Then change it. The schedule's out in May. Change it.
Yeah.
If you really care, they don't care. It's not that they're trying to twist the knife in the Browns. They don't respect the Browns.
That's it.
There it is. There it is.
That is it.
There it is.
If this was Robert Kraft or the Rooneys, would the NFL do this?
Never.
There's not a chance. They don't respect the Haslams as an ownership group, and they don't respect the Browns as a franchise.
You're right.
That's what it comes down to. And
Do you think it was intentional from the NFL?
No, I just don't think they cared.
Yeah, so you just think it happened?
I don't think it crossed anybody's mind.
Yeah,
I agree with you, but I'd like to think that. I'd like to think that. They weren't sitting around going, "How can we get Jimmy today?"
But you're right. Once the schedule came out, they could have switched it to the second home
Schedule's
game.
out in May.
But they were like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, like I keep telling you guys, nobody cares about the fans, and
Yeah, I mean,
the players don't care. Players don't care about the fans.
The league doesn't care.
The league doesn't care. The ownership doesn't care.
No.
Nobody. So the only people who are upset, like I'm upset by this.
Are you?
Because I mean, I was 19 when they left. Like I have friends who were like crying over it, and dads who were sobbing over it.
It doesn't rip an old wound
And
wide open.
I was at the last game against the Bengals in the old stadium where fans were carrying out stacks
Rows of
of
seats.
chairs.
Yeah,
like
I was there
I
as
was
well.
sitting there watching it. Like I saw them with saws. Like now, this is a world we lived in at the time. You could carry saws into the stadium.
They would, because they'd be battered. They
insane.
wouldn't need plugs and electricity.
You would be arrested now if you tried to bring a saw into the Brown Stadium. But back then,
if you try to bring a toothpick in, I think you get arrested.
they brought saws into the stadium and were cutting apart the seats during the game.
Ratchet sets to take the bolts off of the seats to lift them up off the concrete.
And the stories were legendary that the cops were helping. I never saw the police helping, but I saw the police laughing and applauding as people were carrying the seats out of the stadium.
They didn't do anything to stop it.
No, they didn't do
I don't know that
anything.
they aided it either, Jason, but they didn't do anything to stop it.
Because I wrote about this today, and I already got a couple emails like, this is stupid. Who cares? It was 30 years ago. Like, why do you care? And so for like younger generation, they don't care.
No.
Players, they don't care. It's like the older people who had to live it.
Yeah.
And like the dads of my friends who were like sobbing over this, that's who I'm angry for.
Sure.
And it's just the fact that like nobody cares about the fans that are upset about it though. Like, they just care about the money. So just remember that when you like Cleveland has very little expendable income in a lot of families. Like there's only so much. And people get so worked up over the Browns and they get so passionate and so emotional. They love them so much. Just understand it's a one-way relationship.
That's right. Always been, always will be.
And that's just the reality. And people can get angry at that. That's just the reality of it. So no going in. Like if the Browns losing a game wrecks your day or wrecks your week, just understand what they're doing this weekend is yet further evidence that nobody cares about. It's not about the fans. Nobody cares about the fans. If you understand that and you're good with that, okay, cool.
It's a good point.
Yeah, he hit it right there. Like it's just like, if the Cleveland Browns were great, if they were good, we just laugh and talk about exes all the time. Like you gotta think about it. If you weren't over your ex and you're looking around and you're doing bad, you're dusty, you're overweight, you don't got a job, you're unemployed. Yeah, you're gonna be on Facebook stalking pictures like, yeah, I can't believe she go with this dude. He got the nerve to have a Mercedes Benz too. Yeah, you're gonna be looking. And the fact is, the Baltimore Ravens have everything that you want. Everything. Oh. They got championships. They got cool colors.
Management
can pick players. They found
talent.
They found Flacco and got a Super Bowl. They found Lamar Jackson at the end of the first round. They give you the first pick. You can't find nothing. They just find stuff. They got all of this, and we sitting here and we just like, but we can't make field goals. We can't catch the ball on fourth down. That's a microcosm. Like I can't be mad at the Baltimore Ravens for having a 30th anniversary. Bro, they happily married. You mad? They happily married. What they doing? They're not even thinking about you. You just on the schedule. You are not on their radar. You're a blip on the screen. They think they're gonna come in here and smash you. And the only way this really changed, the relationship changes, is it's gonna take a transcendent person. And I know I don't like banking on heroes, but usually it takes a special group of people. I will say this, I thought I would never say this. The reason why Baker Mayfield is very popular in this city is because Baker Mayfield had that personality where he would want to stick it to you, right? Mm-hmm. He wanted to be. He wanted to.
There was dog in him.
He was like, nah, we not taking this. And for whatever you say about him, whatever thought, if you thought he could play or not, that's why people gravitated to him so much. Even if he was struggling or you didn't think he was the top-notch quarterback, people like Bernie because Bernie was a dog. People like Baker because he was gonna say, nah, we ain't gonna take that. We want to come out and put points on these dudes, and we want to flip the script. Now it's not so much that. It's more of a, like, and Jason said, he is correct. A lot of these players, and Jay said, a lot of them weren't even born. They don't know nothing about that. They come from all different parts of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, they're not thinking of it like that. Now, here's what I will say. I like the energy. Maybe Grant Delpit and Jerry Jeudy. Maybe they felt a certain type way about it. Maybe they're trying to motivate themselves. But in the scheme of things, if we want people to stop overlooking in us and telling us that we nothing, then we're gonna have to do something for ourselves. You're gonna have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off.
No, I love that. I love that part of it.
And do
Stop
something.
playing the victim's mentality and be
right.
an alpha.
That's exactly it.
Go in there and take your destiny into your hands. Don't complain about it. Don't yell about it. Now the fans, we can't do anything
That's
but
the
that.
thing, though. The people who are hurt by it have
Right.
no control
and,
over.
And I understand if the players don't say before the game, "Oh, we're going to get them for that."
Yeah.
Now, here's my hope: we go in there and beat them, and after the game,
right,
all the players say, "We're not having you dance on our grave or on our, you shoved in our face what you did to our fans, and we went here and we took this from you for our fans."
Well,
I'm not expecting that, but that's what I hope they say.
Actually, I think it's really disingenuous if they say that after the game. It's easy to be blusterous after the game.
Yeah, but I don't mind holding your fire until it's over.
But, go ahead, Boo, because I'll go first before I say.
So the players don't care. Denzel Ward was asked about it by Mary Kay, and he said he didn't really care. And he's from here, obviously.
Wasn't born.
Now, she asked him about, like, his relatives and stuff, and he said he was going to ask them about it, but I hadn't heard a response. I apologize if I said this yesterday because I can't remember. I was talking about this with somebody. I don't remember if I said it here or not. But I heard one of this sports talk show host in Baltimore. I think his name is Ken Weinman, and he's probably like my age or a little older. No, he had to be a little older, I think, but right close. And he was talking about, well, yeah, because he was in Baltimore and he remembers when the Colts left, right? And he was like, well, I was really hurt about it, but many years later, if there was a celebration, I wouldn't care. And if it was 30 years later, I wouldn't care. And here's what I say to that. If the Browns in the last 30 years had won 2 Super Bowls,
it wouldn't matter.
I don't think we'd care.
Of course we wouldn't.
We wouldn't care at all.
No, or if they hadn't won 2.
Or if they hadn't won.
Right.
But since that moment in time, their franchise has mostly been great.
Yeah.
Our franchise has mostly been crap. And so, yeah, it's going to hurt even more. Now, fortunately for most of the fans, they're not going to have to see it because it's not like it's going to be on TV, the ceremony, I would think. It'll be interesting. I'm just curious about this from a TV perspective. Like, usually when there's a ceremony like that, they'll mention it somewhere along the line.
And roll in some video.
Coming in from break.
They'll do that.
Coming back
They'll
from break.
absolutely do that.
I wonder if they'll also say, mention the Cleveland aspect of it,
I'm
too.
sure
it's a storyline, so I'm sure they will talk
I
about
don't
it.
even know. Who's got the game this weekend?
I think it's on
CBS?
CBS, but I don't remember who's
Well,
doing it.
it's interesting that you said that because, and I don't know, I don't think this has ever happened, but maybe it has. We don't follow that closely enough. It would be the same if the Colts were to celebrate 30 years of football in Indianapolis when Baltimore was in town. Do you think the league would ever do that to them?
Probably not, but
not.
But in that same vein, I don't think Ravens fans would care as much because they've been good.
The older ones would. The younger ones would.
But less. It wouldn't be as painful, I don't
they got
think.
2 Super Bowls.
I don't think because
Right.
because their new franchise is great. And it's been successful.
Right.
And had the Browns for the last 30 years been what the Ravens are,
it wouldn't matter.
who cares?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. Have your
Who
little
cares?
party.
Yeah.
Throw your party.
But
We don't care.
I think it's a classless move by Baltimore. Yes, of course they planned it in March. But I don't see any reason why 3 months, you had the schedule for 3 months. You couldn't have said, you know what, let's show a little class here.
Yeah.
Let's do it the second home game.
Right.
What's the difference?
I heard some personal animus from fans directed at Ozzie Newsome. I'll say this.
That's not fair.
That is absolutely out of bounds. It's out of bounds.
Yeah.
Ozzie Newsome was what I like to refer to as either a good company man or a good soldier. Ozzie made the move, was given an opportunity, and
By the way, How many black general managers were there?
Absolutely. That's what I was good. That's where I was going,
I'm
Jay.
sorry, go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
see, he was given an opportunity that people of his color were not given.
Yeah.
What is he supposed to do?
He had to
Say,
take
you know
that.
what? I'm with you, Cleveland. Even though I made the journey, I am not going to, because it looks like
No.
I'm a traitor.
I
Nonsense.
I hold no animosity.
And
toward Ozzie
and you
at
guys
all.
have probably experienced this. I think you probably have, and Bull, you too. In the corporate media world, I've had friends come up to me throughout my career and say, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know I'm leaving." That's part one of the conversation, and then part two, which is often more difficult, is when they tell you where they're going, because sometimes it is to a competitor. And I've always held this viewpoint. I couldn't be happier for you.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
and be successful. This isn't a me versus you
No,
thing.
yeah, that's right.
This is an ESPN versus Fox thing. I don't get involved in that.
Yeah.
And so for those that did, and I don't think it was a majority of people. I haven't heard many say it, but I did hear a couple of voices this week say, you know what, screw Ozzie too.
That's weak.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Ozzie Newsome took an opportunity that Art Modell was willing to give him. And there you can say a lot of things about Art Modell, but he did give Ozzie Newsome a chance, which opened the door for a lot of other people that looked like Ozzie to get a chance to do what he did successfully.
I was sitting there, and we was just sitting there and talking about fans. And before Bull went, it just popped into my head. I was watching. I get into these zones where I watch old Browns games. I was watching 1989, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Vinny Testaverde versus Bernie Kosar at the big sombrero.
Wow.
Like with the creamsicle jerseys. And I remember they coming in, and this is crazy because Joe Namath was doing color commentating.
Wow.
And so I'm looking at it, and he was like, and the Cleveland Browns, as always, are traveling well. The whole stadium was packed.
Oh, yeah.
They had the Bernie Kosar signs up, and I said, man, you know what? It's kind of one of those things. I think there's some untapped energy, like, because this hasn't been this way in a while. Like we talk about the fan base and the relationship with the team. I think people don't understand this. Like a fan base and a team, if they synced up, it give them a special feel and synergy. Where it's like I watch the Cavs, I just go back and I watch the Cavs, and when them Cavs versus the Warriors, the Cavs was losing. Nobody in the world, Jason, was saying bad stuff. Everybody was like, no, we could do it. And you see those games where they come back from 3-1. It's like the team feeds on it. That's a special type synergy.
In the 80s, there was a special bond.
We had it.
Players.
We did have it in
Maybe
the
players
80s.
of the
And
team.
Jay, those are the people
That's
that are most egreged by what happened.
I mean, Hanford Dixon is here. He may live here. He's here all the time. I don't know if he
I
lives
think
here
he
now.
does live here, yeah.
Bernie. I remember Steve Everett wore the Browns bandana the whole first year in Baltimore because the money was different. It was a different world. It was a different league. And there was a special connection back then between the players and the fans. So when I say the players don't care, that's today. And I'm not necessarily disparaging the players for that. I get why they don't care. It's a business. They're trying to make as much money as possible, whether that's in Cleveland, Tampa, Kansas City. They don't care.
They figured out
It's about
because the
money.
teams don't care about them either.
Yeah. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But back in the 80s, they absolutely there was a bond,
Love affair.
It was
between the players.
You know,
and the
there's
city.
a cheat code.
There's a if you were to ask me which city currently has that with its team right now, way at the top of the list and maybe number one would be Buffalo. But you know what? Sunday night when there were 10 minutes left and their team was down by 2 scores, they took an aerial shot and the upper tank was just about empty.
I'm gonna tell you who got
A lot of fans. It was so bad that I believe Josh Allen after the game called them out and said, "What happened to Bills Mafia?"
Yeah, that was shocking.
I was stunned by that bull.
Yeah.
There's 2 teams. I think the Bills have it, and I was surprised by this because we don't take trips to Southern Ohio much. When I went to the OU West Virginia game, these dudes in Joe Burrow, I know it's Athens and that's where he came from, but he got West Virginia on lock. He got there was, even if the Bengals start off slow, I saw thousands of people, and they're like, we start off slow, but we got Burrow. Like they really rock with him as if like they're like the Browns will play close, but they love Joe Burrow. Like it's just like it is what it is.
Well, Cleveland would love a Joe Burrow too.
Sure, absolutely.
Here's what it is: fans love a quarterback that gives them thrills
I think he'd be
on
loved
Sundays.
no matter what town he was playing in.
If you win for a team consistently, that fan base is going to embrace you.
Real quick, I wrote about this morning. I didn't know we were doing this as a topic actually, but
the time morphed into something.
But I want the record to be clear on this, that like Al Lerner was just as much a part of the Browns leaving as Art Modell was. And the fact that there's a statue of him outside the facility is a disgrace. And the fact that the stadium the address of the stadium is named after him, which that's only going to be for a few more years, is complete incompetence on the part of the city. He is every bit as culpable. And we don't have to go into all the details now, but he was desperate to get an NFL team. He was happy to move Art out. He more or less facilitated the whole thing. He's the one that met with Baltimore officials before Art ever did. He's the one that encouraged Art to meet with them. It's hilarious to me that like he is hailed as the person who brought football back to Cleveland. No, he's the person that destroyed football in Cleveland, just as much as Art was.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. I agree.
We done had some wild owners.
It's Cleveland, baby.